Greetings, this is Thomas Caldwell with the Aurelian Column, and this is Monday morning, September 4th, 2023. Happy Labor Day to my American listeners and subscribers. Best wishes to all of you who labor away at various jobs, professions, and disciplines. Those of you who toil in anonymity to keep yourselves and your families clothed, fed, and sheltered. And in many cases, those of you who keep our world from tottering over into the abyss. Thank you for all that you do. Now, lots going on, as usual, behind the scenes and behind the curtain, where the Wizard of Oz and his minions are pulling so many strings, or at least trying to. The first thing I'd like to talk about this morning is the Burning Man Festival in the desert out in the American West. It's turned into a cold, wet, muddy mess, which may be the subject of a serious rescue attempt by the federal government if things keep going the way they're going. This I'm finding quite funny, actually. Every year, tens of thousands of people gather at a temporary location in the desert to engage in all sorts of bizarre shenanigans and, for the most part, depravity. Since it began on a California beach back in the 1980s, Burning Man's become very well, check it out for yourself. The best and most accurate descriptor is American weirdness manifesting with a corporate structure wrapped around it. Caligula and Nero would have fit right in. All that aside, the gathering of more than 70,000 people in a remote location and being trapped by very bad weather while living in tents and campers has quickly turned into the potential for being a humanitarian disaster. All sorts of bizarre stories are coming out of that place, including a report of at least one death. And strange as it seems, there's some people saying that Ebola, the deadly Ebola virus, has been let loose, which really doesn't seem to be something that would happen. Hallucinogenic drugs are plentiful at Burning Man. That would explain the report. And a few people dying at such a gathering should not be a surprise either, given the number of people that are there. Statistically, it's not surprising at all. 2 people died at the Woodstock Festival in 1969, although that was a much larger crowd, about 425,000 people, as I recall. Given how long Burning Man has been around and how many people show up every year, the death of one person would have been expected to have happened much earlier, and probably there would have been more people that would have passed away. That's an interesting statistic to check out, but that really shouldn't be surprising, and it's being really played up excessively in the mainstream media. Anyway, things could turn really ugly at that annual craziness camp, and don't be surprised if the whole thing is eventually blamed on that catch-all bad guy of our age, namely Mr. Climate Change. Okay, in the more to worry about department, Vladimir Putin has put his nation's premier hypersonic nuclear missile on what is termed combat alert, according to reports from Moscow and the Kremlin. Yes, that doesn't sound too good, and this reporter will neither downplay the Russian posturing nor will I try to wind up everyone's stress level. But I will say that where the United States government once concerned itself with the threat of nuclear war and labored to prevent such insanity from endangering the planet, the Biden administration seems hell-bent on continuing to poke the big bear with a sharp stick. The truly insane are at the head of our affairs. There's no other way to put it. The missile the Russians are introducing into the Ukraine war-created geopolitical equation that's been dominating world politics in the last couple of years is none other than the appropriately named Satan II. It's a weapon that travels at hypersonic speed, which is a technical term for very, very, very fast. Actually, 16,000 miles per hour fast. It can travel anywhere from an estimated 8,000 to more than 11,000 miles, which is pretty impressive considering our planet has a circumference of a little less than 25,000 miles. I'll let you do the math on that one. A Satan II can carry anywhere from 10 to 15 nuclear weapons, according to the reports I've been reading, and they're, of course, in the many megaton range. And, not surprisingly, nothing in the U.S. military's arsenal is capable of stopping it, at least that we're told of. Okay, so let's keep poking the bear with a stick, shall we, Mr. Biden? John F. Kennedy, Nikita Khrushchev, and even Fidel Castro, who were all major players in the Cuban Missile Crisis, are all probably doing somersaults in their graves over this one. Okay, now, let's continue on. We're going to talk a little bit more about what's been going on the Hawaiian island of Maui. It is, of course, getting more curiouser and curiouser. Drones are not permitted, it seems. You can't go fly one of these aerial drones with a camera on it. And a veil of secrecy has really descended on that little bit of tropical paradise. The number of missing still remains in the many hundreds, if not low thousands, many of whom are thought to be young children, which is a rather disturbing prospect. Why would the authorities ban drones? What's being hidden there? What are they hiding? There's walls and barricades that are being put up in place throughout the island, where there's been a lot of devastation. Tourism to the entire island is being shut down, which is what that place survives on, even on the eastern side of the island that was untouched. And that's where the camps were for American soldiers in World War II. A lot of people like to make pilgrimages there. Why would they shut that down? Looks like something has gone down there. That's pretty nasty, and the powers that be want it covered up. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Excuse the pun on this one. But the story deserves to be watched very, very carefully. In fact, I have a special report that I am doing working on Maui, and also some suggested action that the average person can take. Going on to our next topic is a story which has pretty much vanished from the headlines. Gonzalo Lira is still missing in action in Ukraine. There's no word from the man since the end of July when he tried to cross over into Hungary. Although there have been some unconfirmed reports from unnamed sources, doesn't sound very reliable, more like gossip, but there have been some reports out there that he's still alive, but at this point there really is no way to know. If you do want to help the man and you are a U.S. citizen, please contact the office of your 2 U.S. senators from your state and request they investigate the matter. Details are in the special report I put out last month. You can find that on my Substack page. Folks, do not let this one get by. Don't let this one go away. Mr. Lira's treatment by the Ukrainian authorities is reprehensible and must be a line in the sand where things need to stop. And if they do this to him, and you're an American citizen traveling overseas, you are going to have zero protection in the future. So whether people agree with the man or not, whether the U.S. government agrees with the man or not, they really have to go to bat for this guy, or no one's going to be safe. A U.S. passport will be worth the paper it's printed on. Another thing that's kind of disturbing, and these days a lot of stuff is, if you've been noticing various products and services being heavily advertised across the media spectrum, you're correct. Humans of the capitalist realm are now coming up with all sorts of ways to make money out of machines and software algorithms that are becoming increasingly smarter than they are. And all of it is geared towards replacing people with AI. No job, and no one is safe anymore. And if you are among those who think it's a bad idea for humanity to replace itself with machines, I'm inclined to agree. Anything for a buck. The rise of AI is beginning to sound like yet another bad Hollywood movie, wouldn't you say? One in which the humans do everything in their power to replace themselves with machines. And yes, it is getting that weird. Even Money says all sorts of AI-related services and prediction tools will be introduced into the political realm ahead of the 2024 election. Okay, that's something you should really look for. And you should think about that long and hard. Think about that long and hard. What fools these mortals be. Well, that's it for this week. If you like what you hear, read, and see, please like and subscribe and pass the link to this report and my site to your friends via email or social media. Please consider a paid subscription, as it would help me to free up more time to do more reporting, both written and spoken. Thank you for listening, and good day.